Let's get going then. The lights are on and it's almost time for action. Welcome along, ladies and gentlemen, to Formula One in 2023. It's the Bahrain Grand Prix, and in the top 5 on the grid, we got 2 bulls being chased down by a matador with a couple of prancing horses in between just to whet your appetite. The cars are all lined up on the grid. This is how it looks, with Pierre Gasly on his Alpine debut, starting 20th alongside Nick DaVinci, who was slowest overall in qualifying. Gasly had a lap time deleted. Oscar Piastri starts where Daniel Ricciardo did last year in 18th. Kevin Magnussen 10 places lower than he did 12 months ago. Logan Sargent on debut 16th. His teammate Alex Albon starts 15th. Yuki Tsunoda 14th, and Zhou Guanyu starts 13th, only 3/100ths of a second behind his Alfa Romeo teammate Valtteri Bottas. Lando Norris here is 11th. McLaren not getting a car into Q3 for the 2nd year in a row here. Nico Hülkenberg's back and he's 10th. Esteban Ocon powered through to 9th, and ahead of them, Lance Stroll, after injury, giving his best start in Bahrain. He's 8th alongside Lewis Hamilton, his worst Q3 performance in 16 visits. George Russell's top 6 alongside Fernando Alonso, matching Aston Martin's best start in the new era of Formula One. It's an all-Ferrari second row. Carlos Sainz with Charles Leclerc, last year's race winner, ahead of him, and then an all-Red Bull front row. Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen, who between them in qualifying were the fastest and second fastest in every single sector. Red striped tyres on every single car at the start except Kevin Magnussen down in 17th for the Haas. They've all gone, apart from one, with a soft tyre to get going tonight.
And of course, we know from qualifying, Charles Leclerc has a brand new set. Now that'll give him 2 or 3 metres advantage away from the grid. His tyres haven't been cured, haven't had a heat cycle through them, because he elected to just save them for today.
So here we go again then, and they all start on 0 points, and where we end up in Abu Dhabi is anyone's business from here. It's the Bahrain Grand Prix. It's lights out, and away we go. Verstappen gets away well, as does Charles Leclerc. Perez is trying to cover him off, but he might be a bit too late. There might have been contact there as well. Carlos Sainz loses out as Max Verstappen goes into the first turn ahead of Charles Leclerc. Perez on the inside should get a good run out of turn 2. Then comes Sainz, Fernando Alonso, and Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes. On the run now towards turn 4. They've all escaped any trouble going through the first 3 corners. Verstappen out in front from Leclerc. Perez on the inside ahead of Carlos Sainz, and there was trouble, Martin.
2 Aston Martins touched. I hope he hasn't got a right rear puncture.
I think he might have done, you know, because he's losing a bit of ground there, Fernando Alonso. Lance Stroll has found himself behind a car, behind one of the Alfa Romeos there of Valtteri Bottas.
Yeah, at the moment, Alonso moving along fine at the moment, so Perez was really aggressive, defending to the right-hand side. Probably didn't even know that Sainz was out there, but Sainz did well to keep it all together. We'll see that on a restart.
Right out at the back is Nick DeVries in the Alpha Tauri in the Red Bull. Max Verstappen continues to streak away.
Fernando was slowing down to cut back on the inside.
He made contact there, didn't he?
I've been hit, but I mean, they cannot do that.
I can see the Mercedes crew right out and waiting for them, and it is Lewis Hamilton. Box, box is the cry. George Russell wanted to come into the pits a couple of laps ago. He's going to have to stay out there. Fernando Alonso's on his tail, picking up the slipstream. Another 12.5 miles an hour of extra pace. Russell goes to the inside to try and cover. Lance Stroll is the car right behind, waiting to pick up the pieces. Alonso almost level with the rear wheels of that Mercedes, and now gets a much better exit coming out of turn 3. It's a drag race down towards the hairpin at turn 4. Aston Martin on the inside with Fernando Alonso, and he makes the move, but George Russell comes back at him. Alonso gives him enough space, forces him wide enough, and George Russell has to concede as they make their way through turn 6. That was brilliant work from both drivers to give us the best display of overtaking and defending without coming into contact. Steering wheel switch for Oscar Piastri down to Ted.
It's more than that. The engine was dead. The engine was completely dead. I guess he'd have to turn it off before he came into the box, but now he's shaking his head. And what a start, what a miserable start for Oscar Piastri. We're all expecting him to have a stellar Grand Prix career, but this is not the first Grand Prix he wanted. He's shaking his head. Time is dripping away, and surely as Max Verstappen pits onto another set of softs, it looks like it's game over for Piastri.
Bottas is having a cracking little race for Alfa Romeo so far, but he's now coming under pressure from Fernando Alonso. Bottas, who reached 200 Grand Prix, didn't he, at the end of the season last year. This is his 201st start, and he's under pressure from the man with the most Formula One starts, and Fernando Alonso, who isn't really Valtteri Bottas's race here today, makes an easier pass there than he did against George Russell before the first round of pit stops. So Alonso now with some clear track, then chase after Lewis Hamilton. He's in sixth place. Max Verstappen clear of Charles Leclerc. Sergio Perez in third, and already half a second quicker than Charles Leclerc on this lap, and that's just through the first sector of the lap. Sergio Perez out of the final corner. He has got Charles Leclerc half a second ahead of him, and that half a second can be made up, can't it, by the Red Bull. Over the bumps we go. He's going to go down the inside, Sergio Perez. He's going to take second place in the race, but is it the old switcheroo for Charles Leclerc? No, it's not, because Perez has got the traction coming out of that second corner to stay ahead, and the DRS to keep ahead, but Charles Leclerc is going to dive down the inside. Perez is a little bit too far ahead for Charles Leclerc to regain that second place. It's Red Bull 1 and 2 now.
Okay, Lewis, so box.
My tyres are okay, man. I'm short my run.
Undercut threat.
It's Fernando Alonso behind you, and we want to get you out ahead of Fernando Alonso. Why didn't they just tell Lewis that? He would have appreciated that message a lot more. But it's the hard tyres, and he's out again. Now we've got the Aston Martin in as well.
Yeah, and we've
It's Stroll.
got Stroll coming in. Fernando Alonso is through turn 4 as Lewis Hamilton comes back out onto the track. George Russell stayed out. Lance Stroll, as you can see, it's 2.4 seconds. Decent pit stop for him down at Aston Martin. There's George Russell, 2.3 seconds stationary time for Sainz. That was good. 2.5 seconds for Russell. Lance Stroll's making his way just out of the final corner. There's Lewis Hamilton as Carlos Sainz comes out. But where's George Russell going to feed in here? Hamilton goes through turn 1. Here comes Lance Stroll. They tried the undercut. This is going to be very tight indeed. Russell's got it into turn 1, but there's going to be a fight up to turn 4 here. And there goes Lance Stroll into turn 4, ahead then of George Russell. The undercut has worked there for Aston Martin, and Stroll up into 7th place. I said he was pushing hard on this lap. Was he going for it and pushing too hard on those tyres? And Fernando Alonso has really got Lewis Hamilton in his sights here, Ted. So let's just watch him down that main straight. He's got DRS. Hamilton's got a bit of energy coming from the batteries. Alonso's got a keen wind and a slipstream, and he's almost alongside the Mercedes as he gets into turn 1.
And Hamilton ran a bit wide in turn 1. He'll compromise 2 and 3 for him. That gives extra assistance then. The rear wing is open on the Aston Martin. Here comes Fernando Alonso.
As he dives down the inside, and Fernando Alonso is back up into the top 5, but Hamilton gets a really good exit out of turn 4, pushes Fernando Alonso a little bit wider than he wanted and regains the spots.
Did he actually push him, or did the back end of the Aston Martin just step out?
But he's still going for it, Alonso here, and the goal, I think, is not just Lewis Hamilton. The goal is also that man just disappearing out of your screen, Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, Fernando's kind of at risk of overdriving the car.
He's
now, look
going
at
down
that.
the inside,
Lovely.
Martin. What a move from Fernando Alonso. He really caught Lewis Hamilton at an unexpected moment and put his car in exactly the right position to then get DRS as well to help him pull away. That took years in the making.
I know.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, a Ferrari!
Oh no, there's a Ferrari
Leclerc.
going very slowly, and it's Charles Leclerc. What's happened?
No, come on. What happened, guys? No power.
But let's have a little listen here.
It's cut out completely. He's got the hydraulics to be able to thump down the gearbox, but it looks like an electrical issue to me because there's no smoke and steam, and he's parked it in a very sensible place, but they've still got to put marshals outside of the barrier opening of the service road there.
And he has got that better exit. Sainz covers off the inside line. Alonso goes for the old switcheroo and almost makes contact with a Ferrari. How did he get away with that one and pull away at the last moment?
Well, that's the front right and the rear right had a whack on that Aston Martin, so they build them strong at Silverstone.
They certainly do, but now turning out of turn 8, Fernando Alonso is almost fully alongside Carlos Sainz, who's going to have to watch down the inside and does so, but locks up his brakes. Fernando Alonso will get DRS now and potentially a better exit and needs just that little bit of extra speed down this straight, picks up the slipstream and now has the inside line going into turn 11. Alonso is up into third place. Carlos Sainz couldn't hold on to that podium place any longer, and Fernando Alonso on his first start for Aston Martin now into the top 3.
Vamos! And that, well, he's got so much grip and confidence, and he's sort of, whichever bit of track you use, I'll find a different piece of track. I'll be past you.
Max Verstappen, in his 10th visit to the Kingdom of Bahrain, is going to win here for his first time. He's going to nudge up that number of race victories by one more, and that win has never ever looked in doubt. 2023 is off and running, and the world champion picking up where he left off in Abu Dhabi. Max Verstappen wins the Bahrain Grand Prix, and he wins it by a long, long way. Sergio Perez will come home to take second place. It's a perfect start for Red Bull. They qualify 1-2, they finish 1-2. First time they've done that since Abu Dhabi in 2013. But attention now turns to the oldest man in Formula One. Fernando Alonso starting his Aston Martin career with a podium. It is very much happy days for the Fonz as Fernando Alonso takes the checkered flag and takes podium for Aston Martin. What a start to the season for the Silverstone team.
Yes, mate, well done, that's P3.
Yes, what you have done, guys. What you have done. I'm so proud of you. It's amazing.
That's for Jim's 60th birthday.
Happy birthday! The 60s are the new 40s.
The winner of the first race of the season has gone on to finish as runner-up in the championship, so maybe Sergio Perez will be happy to finish second tonight. Contrast the relaxed celebrations at Red Bull with Fernando and his new crew. And that's our podium for the first race of the season after their double DNF 12 months ago. Red Bull, the Constructors' champions, finish 1 and 2. They start off in perfect fashion, and Aston Martin tonight with the challengers.